What's up, YouTube? JP here. So, back on the Jeep. Today's just going to be some regular vehicle maintenance. I think I said in my last video I had a lot of play in my steering gearbox. I do have some power steering leaks. So what we're going to do today is we're going to replace the power steering pump, the power steering gearbox, and both the pressure hose and return hose. But we do have a treat for you. The rock hard four-wheel drive bumpers just came in, so our next video will be the install of both the front and rear bumpers that include the spare tire swing out on the rear bumper and a front winch mount. Our winch is already here, and so our next video after this maintenance video will be some more upgrades. So just a quick look. As you can see here, we definitely have a lot of leakage around the reservoir. We're going to be changing these lines. Pretty easy to get to. Pump is here. Just require you to take off the belt. We'll pull the power steering pump, and then the gearbox is just right under the pump basically. So we'll get the airbox out of the way, and we'll kind of go from there on this video. So for this project, we're going to be using the Lair's Corporation's brand new gearbox. I don't like to use remanufactured stuff. Yes, it's cheap. Yes, it's, you know, probably decent, good quality, but this is something, like I said, I'm going to be out in the middle of the desert. I just want something new that I know is tested and true, so we're going to be using that pump there. Then I went ahead and I got the Edelman Elite power steering pump. This pump does not come with the pulley, however, it is already pre-set up with a brand new reservoir. These reservoirs tend to start to leak in the splits, so I wanted a new reservoir. There's also gaskets and O-rings in here, so I wanted to get a brand new pump as well. So nothing remanufactured. We went ahead and we went with Edelman Elite's pressure line. This is their kind of top quality hose they have there. So got a high pressure line there, and then I couldn't find the return line, but return is low pressure, so went ahead and went with the Samsung just return hose for the new pump. Now, I'm not sponsored by any of these. Just saying what I bought, what I used. It was about, all in all, brand new gearbox, brand new pump, brand new lines. I want to say out the door. I bought these on Summit Racing, probably $650 to $700 for everything. So we're gonna go ahead and start getting this set up. Okay, so step one is gonna be setting up our hoses. Each hose will come with, I don't know if you can see that, an O-ring. So you want to make sure you put your O-rings on not to damage them. Both ends. Same thing here. Same with an O-ring. Okay, those are all set up. We'll take our new pump. I just happen to know, and you can easily look at yours, but the articulation of this hose goes around the back side of the pump like this here. So we're going to go ahead and set it up that way. Just finger tight for now. Okay. That's how that's going to sit around the back side of the pump there. Be ready to go down onto the gearbox. The return line. It doesn't come with a new hose clamp, so make sure you get yourself a hose clamp. I like to use these stainless steel ones that are actually rounded. That way you don't get anywhere that actually pinches uneven on the hose. We're going to kind of articulate the same angle because they're going to go on the gearbox right next to each other. So about like that. So, snug down your return line. Go some more. Okay. Make sure it can't be twisted. Nope, it's still loose. Go even more. Right. There we go. So there you have it. Don't forget to tighten this down. And then we're going to need to get the other pump out to go ahead and change the pulley system. The pulley will go right on there. So we'll have to use a puller for that, and we'll get started on that. There we go. Got a little bit better view for you guys now. So as you can see, got the air box out of the way. I did find that my belt tensioner is pretty much stiff coming off and going on. The spring's not really working, so I'm gonna go ahead and run to the hardware store and replace that while we're at it. But we do have, here's your gearbox. Here's the two lines going up to the pump. Now, my gearbox, if you look, is also wet, but this is where my play's coming from, is inside this gearbox. So going down the road, I'm having to kind of constantly correct the steering wheel. All the front end parts are new, so we're gonna go ahead and get all this out. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and remove these lines. Normally I would vacuum this out. Unfortunately I can't find my extractor, so we're gonna make a mess. Make sure you put a bucket underneath. I got a bucket down there, I also got a towel down there. We're gonna go ahead and remove the lines, and then we'll get this pump out of here. So okay, so the lines are off. Now we're gonna have 3 13 millimeters. I'm not sure if you guys can see this at all. Let's try to get in here. So you're gonna have, in the pulley itself, you'll see 3 holes through the front of the pulley. There'll be 3, sorry guys. It's gonna be 3 13 millimeter bolts. Back here, you'll put your socket through, take all 3 off, and then the pump will come out. And I believe there's a bracket behind the pump, so make sure you watch where that goes. Not sure if it'll fall out, but I believe it's a spacer between the head and the pump, so I think it'll stay to the head. Best angle I got for you guys. So again, the wrench will go through. You'll see there's a bolt there. You can break all 3 loose, take them out all the way. 1. 2. Number 3 is kind of from the bottom. You're going to have to kind of feel around for it till you find it. There it is, I believe. Yep. Alright. I won't bore you guys with taking this off, but those are the 3 bolts you're going to want to get. Come around to this side, we'll get this pump out of here. Alright, so we're going to use our Matco power steering puller. Go ahead and pull the pulley off. Get this all set up real quick. Double check, see where it's at. It's about right where we want it. So the next thing you guys want to do is you want to make sure you secure your steering wheel in its correct center position. So right now my front wheels are centered. I just usually find a spot under the dash to hook a bungee to. And this will keep your steering wheel from rotating and you ruining your clock spring inside the steering wheel. Alright you guys, so once you get the steering wheel bungeed and secure, you're going to go ahead and you're going to remove this rod here. This is your steering linkage. You're going to go ahead and remove this here, 13 millimeter or a ½ inch, whatever you got. And then you're going to slide it back. It should collapse. So let's go ahead and get that broken loose and get this off the steering gear. And just take yourself a pry bar. Should be able to walk that shaft inwards off the steering gear. Little by little, just walk it back and forth. There it goes. Just like that, and it'll collapse all the way back for you, so it's up out of the way. There you go. And you'll notice that there's a flat spot here. That flat spot will line right back up with your flat spot inside your housing there. Alright you guys, so not every Jeep will have a steel underside bracket under the radiator here, but on mine it does. Yours might, it might not, so you'll need to remove that bracket. It's 4 15mm bolts.
Do you need me to hold anything?
I got it. All right. There you go. So the next thing we're going to do is we want to, this is our drop down pitman arm. We're going to want to break it loose from the steering mechanism here. So we're going to have a cotter pin here that needs to come out. Usually a pair of pliers will help you get that out there. And then once we get that out, there's one nut here. It's either an 18 or a 19mm. We can leave this on the pump and transfer that to the new pump on the table. So, sorry, not pump, but gearbox. And let's go ahead and do that. Alright you guys, we got the steering linkage off here, off the pitman arm. We're going to leave the pitman arm on as a handle to help hold up the gearbox. It is very heavy, so be careful. So we're going to come over here to this side. They're going to be 5/8 bolts, 3 of them. One here, 2 here. I already kind of got them broke loose, so we'll get the top one out of the way with a hand wrench, and then we'll zip off the other 2 with the impact gun. There's the top bolt. Very careful zipping out both your bolts because you don't want this thing to fall. There's one. And the second one, you want to go nice and slow. Make sure you have a good grip. And that is your power steering gearbox. Alright, so we're going to change the pitman arm from the old the old gearbox to the new gearbox. You want to make sure that your pump is a 4 groove or 3 groove, that your pitman arm is the same. They do offer both, so it's something to be aware of. Alright, so you're going to need a pitman arm tool puller. Alright, so we got the pitman arm loose. We're going to articulate it in the exact same manner. This pump already has a label. It tells us that it is already adjusted to center, so there's nothing we need to do to center this. When you buy aftermarket or remanufactured ones, a lot of times you have to find center, but it's another reason why I like to go with a brand new gearbox and not a reman. So always want to use a brand new bolt. Comes with a brand new nut there, so we're going to tighten that thing down and get it reinstalled. Okay, you want to make sure your lock washer is squashed. As you can see here, it's squashed, it's flat. That's going to keep that from walking out. Alright, you guys, so we place back the gearboxes back in. You want to hand tight these bolts because they're known to cross thread. So you want to make sure all 3 bolts are started before you tighten them down, because if you get one tight, I can guarantee you the rest of them are going to go in and they're going to cross thread, and then you're going to have a bigger issue. So we'll go ahead and zip these in now. I got them all started. We'll get it tightened down, and it's just going to be the reverse process from here on out.
From here.
Alright, so we got the gearbox back in, guys. We got the undershield back in. Again, it's just going in reverse. Got the shaft back on now. You want to make sure you get your splines lined up. There is a flat cut on this, so make sure it's perfect. And then get your bolt back in. And here shortly we'll go ahead and throw the pump back in, and we'll be almost done with this project. Alright guys, so we got the lines in. And they will look like this. They'll kind of come up, go down, and look just like that. They're tight already into the gearbox. We got the pump on. Again, it's just your 3 bolts you'll put through. Get them all kind of started by hand, and then get them tightened down. So now all we have left, we're going to put our air box back in, reverse process. Then we're going to put our belt back on. I had to take a break and go down and get myself a new belt tensioner, so I got that replaced as well. So let's go ahead and get the air box in. Okay, we got the belt on, we got the air intake on. Now we got to fill this thing with fluid. For you guys that have the 5.2 liter, I don't know if you can see this, but there's your belt diagram. If you want to double check your work there, make sure your belt's running the right way. That way you're not on the wrong side of the water pump. No. Alright you guys, you're going to want to put in probably about at least a half a quart into your power steering fluid. Make sure the power steering fluid is proper for your vehicle. Make sure it says either, for the Chryslers, it's going to be either Chrysler or Mopar. Make sure it falls within the specs, you're using the right fluid. What you want to do, lift the front wheels off the ground, put about a half quart or so in the power steering fluid, and you're going to turn the steering wheel without the vehicle on approximately 10 times to the left, 10 times to the right, so 20 times total. That way you get the air that's down in the gearbox and in the lines. You kind of help get some of that air out prior to starting the vehicle and topping it off. So we'll go ahead and do that now. go ahead and check it again just to make sure you're not running low on the fluid. I can hear mine gurgling, so I'm going to keep topping it off a little bit. I'll finish up the dry run. Alright, so now we'll let this thing down, plug the battery back in, and finish topping it off and get her started. Alright, I'm going to start this thing up. Just a reminder, my catalytic converter is coming apart, so it's going to rattle like crazy. That's what you're hearing. Still got to work on that, but we'll start this thing up and get it going. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm cranking it all the way. I topped it off when I went to the left because it sucked it down. Now I cranked it all the way to the right, shut it off. I'm going to let the air bubbles in the system rise. Keep an eye in the reservoir there. You want to make sure those air bubbles are gone. Top it off again, start it up, turn it all the way left, shut it off, let the air bubbles rise. You do this 3 or 4 times, and normally you're pretty good to go after that. So, not sure how well it'll get this, but okay, I got the steering wheel turned all the way back to the left and shut off again. You can see, hopefully this camera's picking it up, air bubbles rising. So those bubbles are what you want to wait until they've all released before turning it back over. You'll notice that the fluid is actually being pushed up towards the top of the reservoir by all that air. So that's why I have a rag there, because when it's shut off, it'll want to raise and dump out everywhere sometimes. So depending on how full you have it, I don't have a lot in there, so it's not just barely picking up any, but as you can see, it's getting more aerated, more bubbly coming to the surface. So that's what you want. You want those bubbles to come out and release before you top it off for the final time and cap it. And one last thing to be aware of, guys, is that if your steering wheel is not perfectly centered, because each gearbox is slightly different, what you're going to do is this track bar right here, the one that has my shock on it, it's the one that goes from the pitman arm down to the tie rod over here. You're going to adjust that by twisting it. You're going to loosen each nut on these brackets. For me, because I have the shock, I have to release this one, I have to unbolt the shock, and I have to loosen this one. Turn this shaft, depending on if you need to go left or right, it'll be clockwise or counterclockwise, and that will center your steering wheel without changing your toe or your alignment adjustment. That is simply to adjust center on your steering wheel. So pretty easy to do. What you'll do is back your vehicle straight up and pull it straight forward. And when you pull it straight forward, your steering wheel, if it's cockeyed to the left or right, leave it there, shut it off, and adjust it with the wheels themselves straight and make the steering wheel centered by turning this. You'll have to adjust a little bit, go check the steering wheel, adjust a little bit, go check the steering wheel. Once you get it centered, lock it down, drive it again, and it should be good to go. Alright guys, thanks for watching the simple maintenance video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask on the YouTube channel. We got, like I said, we got bumpers. We got a couple other things we still need to do. I still need to work on this catalytic converter. So that kind of stuff. Probably the bumpers will probably be the very next thing we do for a video. I don't want to bore you guys with repairing the catalytic converter and all that stuff. So stay tuned for more upgrades to the 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee ZJ. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.